Hey everybody, hope this finds you doing well. This is Danelle, and today we are going to talk all about Bitcoin. Of course, we had the Bitcoin halving that just happened a couple of days ago. That was a major news event in the Bitcoin space. But as usual, let's go ahead and start off with the cryptocurrency market update. We have Bitcoin currently trading at $65,000. It's been a little bit of a volatile past couple of weeks, really, but as you can see over the past 7 days, we're really just down 1%, even after all the up and down over the last several days leading up to the halving, and then also having some social, political events that have been happening that have been affecting all markets, not just the cryptocurrency market. But as we can see, Bitcoin is actually doing quite well in this $65,000 range. If we continue to stay within $60,000 and $70,000, it is boding well for us to potentially go on a higher leg up anytime in the next several months. So we could see this choppiness over the next few months. Who knows? Obviously, the Bitcoin spot ETFs are now starting to see some more positive inflows after there were several straight days of negative inflows. So there's a lot that could be happening now that we do have the halving, now that we know that the issuance of Bitcoin has been cut in half. We'll get into that in a moment. But we're seeing that currently Bitcoin is doing pretty well, staying in that $65,000 range. We can see Ethereum is back above $3,000. It's actually up 1.5% over the past week. We have Solana around 150. It had also dipped down actually to below 130, and now it is back up towards $150. So it's doing pretty well right now, up 1% over the past week. We have XRP still continuously trading in that 50-cent range. It's currently now trading at 52 cents. Dogecoin, the top meme coin of them all, is trading at 16 cents. And then we have Toncoin, which is a newcomer to the top 10. It's been in the top 10 a couple of times before, but it seems to be holding on to its spot now at number 9. Cardano is at number 10, trading at 50 cents. And then just below that is Shiba Inu, which is on the heels of Dogecoin, the next biggest meme coin with over $15 billion in market cap. As you can see here, Bitcoin is now trading at $65,000, as we mentioned earlier. And earlier in the week, just in the middle of the night, for most people around April 19th, it had actually dipped down to below 60,000, but you see it had a nice bounce back, and it actually got back to above $65,000 in less than 24 hours. And now it's kind of been trading in this $64,000 to $65,000 range over the last few days. And we had the halving at about 8:09 Eastern Standard Time on April 20th. So depending on where you were around the world, if you're in Australia, it would have been April 21st, but it just happened a couple of days ago, and we're seeing a nice steady flow of action here at $65,000. We'll see what happens when the traditional stock markets open up, but we'll definitely be keeping you posted, obviously, over the next several weeks and several months to see if Bitcoin is able to take that next leg up from this $60,000 to $70,000 range. So as we mentioned, we did have the Bitcoin halving, and that occurred just a couple of days ago. We are now on to the next halving. So here on the Bitcoin halving clock, you see that the next halving date is slated to be sometime in March of 2028. So usually the Bitcoin halvings happen generally every 4 years. So we are on to the next, as you see here. And so right now, since we've had this halving, the block reward has now dropped from 6.25 to 3.125 Bitcoin per block. So as you can see here, and we've talked about this in the last video, this is what happens to the Bitcoin price after a halving. So we definitely will be keeping a close eye on what happens with Bitcoin after this particular halving. Usually it reaches an all-time high within 12 to 18 months of the last halving. So we've already broken a record by reaching a all-time high before the halving when we got to above $73,000 before this last halving. So we're not sure what's going to happen now that we've reached that mark before the halving, but many people are speculating that no matter what, we will still be going up after this halving, particularly because of the fact that the supply is continuing to shrink. So you can see here, this is a chart that shows the inflation of Bitcoin that actually comes out into the market, and it continues to diminish over time. And by around 2140 is when the last Bitcoin, the 21 millionth Bitcoin, will be mined. So you can check out this chart to have an understanding of Bitcoin's inflation rate, as well as the time period that it will take for all of the Bitcoins to be issued. So here is a little bit more information about the halving schedule. And so the next halving is slated to be in March or April of 2028. And when that happens, we're going to see that the Bitcoin is going to drop to about 1.5 Bitcoin per block. So we will definitely start to see more of a squeeze, and we already know of all of the demand that is coming into the Bitcoin space. As you can see here, exactly the amount will be 1.5625 Bitcoin per block during the next halving. So there's going to be more scarcity coming to the blockchain, and because of the fact that we're seeing more demand, we're actually seeing more demand than we've ever seen when we look at all the institutional investors that are looking to get into Bitcoin. We have El Salvador, which was the first country to make Bitcoin legal tender. There, I'm sure, will be other countries and sovereign nations that will be looking into doing this as well. And so there's definitely a possibility that could potentially cause Bitcoin to go into the 6 figures and maybe even higher than that. But make sure to stay tuned to Networkchain. We'll keep you posted, but it's very important to do your research when you're considering investing into cryptocurrency assets and digital assets, because it's still very risky, it's still very volatile. But from what we're learning, when you see the amount of returns that Bitcoin has provided for investors and traders since it was first introduced compared to some of the other major market makers, when you look at the S&P 500, when you look at another commodity like gold, it doesn't compare in terms of what Bitcoin has done against those indices and assets. As you can see here, another thing that was really exciting for a lot of people who are interested in the Bitcoin space are Bitcoin runes were launched. Runes are basically fungible tokens that are being launched on the Bitcoin blockchain. So they're different from Bitcoin ordinals, which are non-fungible tokens similar to NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain. Runes are basically going to be meme coins that can be launched on Bitcoin. And a lot of people were looking to mint runes to be able to have provenance of which Satoshis these runes would be minted on. And so that caused the Bitcoin average transaction fee to go through the roof. As you can see here, these are the costs of the transaction fees over the last several years, basically since Bitcoin's existence. And as you can see, it has reached its highest mark really on April 20th, 2024, when we had the Bitcoin halving. So you can see the total revenue for Bitcoin miners, which include block rewards. And many people were concerned about what are the miners going to do now that the block reward has been reduced by half. But when you look at the amount of transactions that are happening on the Bitcoin blockchain, they still get revenue from those fees. And so the total revenues from these block rewards, as well as the transaction fees, soared to a record $107.8 million in one single day. So this could be bullish, as it says here, for some of the major Bitcoin mining firms like Mara, Riot, Hut, and Core Scientific. So definitely another thing to look into, potentially, if you're not looking to buy and hold Bitcoin individually. You can also consider potentially looking at what the miners are doing, but it still remains to be seen how well they will do. Soon some of them will have their earnings report over the next several weeks to find out how they did in Q1, but we will be keeping posted with that as well, because we're also very interested in the Bitcoin miners to see how well they do. Some of them may not make it past this halving, and so they may have to end up consolidating, where there may be a bunch of acquisitions. So we'll definitely make sure to keep you posted on any major news when it comes to the Bitcoin miners and how well they're able to function now that we have another halving. So like I said, this video is all about Bitcoin and the Bitcoin halving. Everyone is super excited about the fact that we had a successful halving, and now that the supply is continuing to be decreased and the demand continues to be increased. A lot of investors and speculators are super excited about what is to come with Bitcoin. We're super excited just the fact that more people are getting interested and learning about Bitcoin. Google searches, their metrics are showing that a lot of people were searching Bitcoin halving. So we're definitely starting to see more people get interested in Bitcoin and learning about Bitcoin. So make sure to keep it locked here at Networkchain. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to connecting and linking up with you soon on the Networkchain. In the meantime, take care. Bye-bye.